Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 397. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale.
Yo, how you doing?
Brett Murdoch.
What's up, people?
And Brian Manjoma.
What up?
All right, the whole family's here, you know. It's been a while since we actually started showing everybody.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. No vamping. We're going to get right into it, man. We got questions this week, you know. Real quick, Ace Ali asked us a question about what our favorite Microsoft products is. That's not a gaming question. That's more of a tech question. But since we will have an AMA special,
well, maybe he's talking about like out of the Xbox stuff.
No, he said outside of Xbox. What is your favorite? Yeah. So we have an AMA special in 3 weeks. So I'm gonna save that question for that because I think it's a good question.
That's a good question.
Like Office for Windows or shit.
That's good for Adam.
So.
I like Zune or Surface. Microsoft.
Yeah. So you know. Wow. Yeah, but that's not for this show. You know, this is the video game show, so we'll save that for episode 400.
I really like those Microsoft gaming games.
Yeah, Microsoft gaming games. All right, man. So we'll start off with Jay Shep. And I'm going to read this question as he wrote it, because I know what he's trying to ask, but you know, I'm going to leave it there because I think he wanted to throw some fire into the, you know, into the oil or whatever, or oil into the fire.
Into the fire.
Right. He goes, assuming Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard goes through, it's probably going to go through, dude. Would it be wise for Sony? Okay, this is an interesting one. Would it be wise for Sony to discontinue carrying Activision Blizzard games, including Call of Duty on PlayStation? What I mean is, which is the lesser evil? Losing your dude bro Call of Duty gamers to Game Pass while they keep their PlayStation, or giving Microsoft revenue for all the dude bro COD gamers playing on PlayStation? Keep in mind, you don't have to get rid of PlayStation in order to play Game Pass. All right, first of all, there's something evil here. You know, I think the better question is, which is more financially sound, for Sony to just stop all Activision games on the platform, or, you know, accept that you're going to lose some people to Xbox and continue to put the games out anyway. I think option 2 is the best one. You know?
That's not a question of financially sound. It's a question of how vindictive do you want to be.
Yeah.
I don't think. To be honest, like,
none of these are evil, by the way.
The thing is, like, you know, MLB The Show is on PlayStation, is on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
On Xbox Game Pass.
It's on Xbox Game Pass. Now, theoretically, that would be, you know, they should, you know. But it hasn't really affected anything. If anything, it makes them more money because they now have a wider space to deal with, right?
Yo, Manny. So they're gonna start releasing Spider-Man on the Xbox?
No. MLB The Show is the lesser of those evils. You know what I mean? It's people. You know, obviously sport fans. You know, well, but they're not like those sorts of. Those sorts of you know, like those sorts of cornerstone PlayStation games, and I think that's why they just said, you know what, let's do it. You know,
well,
they had to cave to the pressure to the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought that was the real reason. It was MLB said, we're going to take this license away unless you start producing it on multiple platforms, and they were like, all right, we'll do it. Yeah, it still says Sony when I played it. It still boots up. It says Sony.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's, Sony Studio or whatever it was.
No harm, no foul. I think that. You know, and again, there is Minecraft that's still on there. There's still
Minecraft. I just looked that up right now just to see. Minecraft has a higher player base compared to Call of Duty, and no surprise because it's a younger audience. But that says that boots up saying Microsoft on it, and that's been on
Microsoft did. I mean, Microsoft could have just as easily pulled that away. But I think that, you know, I think that when it comes to certain things, they're willing to play game, and I think that even Microsoft would be stupid to lock down the door, even though I think they should lock it down, but I think they would be stupid to lock it down to just be only you know, an Xbox exclusive. But you know, that's the question that Brazilian PlayStation lawyer was sort of throwing out there, the idea that because it's associated with Microsoft, that might it pull away a bunch of players that would normally be playing on the PlayStation console. But then again, there is no difference between that and the difference when Sony pays an exclusive deal, or Microsoft pays an exclusive deal with any company, so that whenever they show ads and everything like that, they always have a big PlayStation or Microsoft logo on there.
Yeah, apparently in Brazil, PlayStation is the dominant of the consoles, and especially when it comes to hardware sales and stuff. So I think that's why this dude brought up that argument. So as if he's scared more for the retailers.
Mm.
Hey, Tony, could you read the question again? Because I think I heard something in there that might be important.
All right, I'll read the whole thing again. Assuming Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard goes through, would it be wise for Sony to discontinue carrying Activision Blizzard games, including Call of Duty, on PlayStation? What I mean is, which is the lesser evil, losing your Dude Bro COD gamers to Game Pass while they keep their PlayStation, or giving Microsoft revenue for all the Dude Bro COD gamers playing on PlayStation? Keep in mind, you don't have to get rid of PlayStation in order to play Game Pass.
Okay. The thing I wanted to point out about this question is that it sounds like he's basically asking not what Microsoft should do, but what should Sony do?
Yeah, this is a Sony. Yeah, it's a question.
So he's saying, should Sony cut out their carrying of this in order to make sure that Microsoft doesn't get the money? But in business, it's not about stopping your competition from making money. It's just about making as much money yourself as humanly possible. And if other people make money as well, cool. You don't give a shit. That's why companies congratulate each other when they come out with, big things, because Sony doesn't care who's making the money as long as they're making record profits. Now, if their record profits start getting drained directly by somebody else, sure. But they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot just to stop Microsoft from making money. That is the most financially ridiculous of the scenario.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but Brett, this is sort of the dichotomy between all of this is the way that Microsoft makes the most money out of this whole Activision stuff is by hurting Sony directly. If they make it so that Call of Duty is the must-play game on Xbox, where most of the Dude Bro gamers go to Xbox Game Pass to play their Call of Duties, then that's directly going to hurt Sony.
Yes, but how is Sony going to hurt Microsoft by not carrying Call of Duty on their system? Because that's the question.
It depends. I don't know. They could come up with competitors. I'm pretty sure a big reason why Destiny is now part of Sony, the Sony umbrella, is because they needed someone to compete. Because if in the acquisition wars, you can't be left by yourself holding not having something for a certain audience.
Well, exactly. So Sony should definitely not want to cut off Call of Duty from their system. That would only be hurting them to also hurt Microsoft, but it would be hurting them.
But here's the thing, I think, and shout out to Mob Hits for the bits. I think it's an eventuality that Call of Duty, at least most of the mainline Call of Duty, is going to be an exclusive to Xbox at some point in the future.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they shouldn't start working on a replacement to help fill the hole that game leaves when it eventually leaves. I'm just saying, taking the response of, well, now that Microsoft owns them, fuck you, we're not going to carry it, so Microsoft makes less money that way. We don't care if we make less money as long as they do too. That's not going to be the response. The response is more going to be, well, we're not going to have Call of Duty forever. We should probably start, getting ready to make a game that can fill that niche. But I don't think that has anything to do with cutting off Call of Duty before Microsoft does.
Well, I still think I'm sticking with my theory is that they're going to keep this going. It's not going anywhere. They'll just create another franchise that is exclusive. And they're like, hey, we're not breaking any rules. We said you're going to have a Call of Duty. You're still having the Call of Duty. We're just making another Call of Duty.
Yeah, but again, that's Microsoft, though.
Yeah, and they could do it.
Yeah,
and if anything,
we're not talking about Microsoft.
No, but they're talking about if Sony decides, hey, we don't want any of your Call of Duty games, right? To hurt them in a way. But you're really hurting your install base because they want to play Call of Duty. Doesn't matter if you're upset who owns it.
Well, there's a business calculation that has to be made. If Sony cuts off Call of Duty games, right? You injure Microsoft's revenue because you have a player base built into PlayStation that won't be able to play the games. But if you're Sony, you risk that player base migrating to Xbox in order to keep playing those games, right? So there's a calculation that needs to be made. It's like, what's the pain point that people will take to not lose players to your competition? Can you successfully cut off Call of Duty from your system and still keep that majority of that base? If the answer is no, then you're going to keep licensing the game, right? Because the revenue for those game sales keeps going to Activision and keeps going to Microsoft. All you're doing is retaining your player base, and they're going to pay for PS Plus to keep playing online, and they're going to buy other games. They may buy exclusives, whatever. You're trying to keep your base growing. You don't want to have shrinkage. That's what they have to calculate and avoid. I don't see any evil in either option.
Yeah, there is
really
no evil in either. No.
Yeah, it's all business calculations. It's Sony. If you say like they take option one, they're just like, all right, we're not going to carry Call of Duty on PlayStation anymore, and we'll figure something else out. That to me is a bad calculation, because you will just have people get frustrated and go, well, I'm just going to jump ship because I want to keep playing Call of Duty. They got the new one. They got Warzone 2, or they got whatever. I'm jumping to Xbox. Okay. Then that person now signs up for Game Pass, kills his PS Plus. He's gone. You lose. His engagement is gone. And there may be 100, 200,000, who knows how many people who will follow suit. So that's not good. What you do is like you keep that relationship going as you keep that base. And if you want to make an alternative, you go, we'll make our own Call of Duty. We'll just start that project now, and in 3-4 years it will bear fruit, and then we can revisit this issue. Okay, you do that.
And Chris, to piggyback on what you're saying, one thing that Sony has to realize is that the time is ticking. You have to assume the worst case scenario here, that Microsoft will eventually put Call of Duty in their exclusive catalog, and if that ever happens, it's just a slow bleed where you're just going to keep losing revenue and consumer base and everything. And if I were Sony, I would use, and this is the most leverage they'll ever have in this instance, where it'll affect Microsoft's status quo with Activision. The status quo for Activision and Microsoft is we're buying Call of Duty because it's a constant revenue stream, and any hit to it will be huge. So
right. So you need like a short-term hit to hit back, right? What I would do if I was Jim Ryan is fund a portion of Battlefield and get a Battlefield to be exclusive on PlayStation and manage that game so it is competitive with whatever Call of Duty is happening, right? That would be one of my moves, right? It's like Sony's not going to buy EA, right? But I'd be like, hey, we'll throw you some money, but we want to keep this exclusive, maybe for a year or something, or permanent. I don't know what kind of deal you could strike. But would say, put that on the table as a talk until you have an alternative.
Yeah, but even though, Battlefield is nowhere near what Call of Duty is.
Well, they'd really have to bring in some outside talent. They'd have to bring in guys from maybe like Guerrilla Games or whatever, like to consult and really revamp Battlefield, because it has fallen off.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. If I were, this could be a new series, the new segment. If I were Jim Ryan, I'd try to secure a contract with Microsoft, saying, hey, or with Activision or whatever. Whenever this becomes final, it's like, hey, we want all the permutations of Call of Duty to be on multiple consoles for the next 10 years, let's say. And what's the leverage that Sony has? It's like, okay, then we will hold Call of Duty in 2024. We'll take a hit, but you're going to take a bigger hit because Activision relies a lot on Call of Duty. You're not gonna sell 20 million sales with this. Most of it's going to go to Game Pass. If all the generation of revenue is going to go to Game Pass, Activision is not going to have a cash cow like it used to. If you're not selling physical copies or digital copies of the game, which it is right now, it's selling close to 20 million every single year. that affects the status quo. That affects the way Activision works and the way it's been working. They got 3 or 4 developers working on these games every year. So
By the way, just because the game's on Game Pass doesn't mean people on Xbox won't still buy physical. Just get that out there.
No, and then not only that, there's always tie-ins, reasons why. Because sometimes they'll say certain content is not part of the Game Pass experience. Sometimes certain DLCs are not part of it. I've seen a few of those where it's like, oh, even recently, Forza Horizon, that what you call it, the Hot Wheels pack that just came out, right? You have to pay for that. That's not part of Game Pass. The game is the base game, but if you want to play that Hot Wheels, you got to pay for it. So there's still incentive to buy, and then of course they still put it on sale and do those type of things. So people, and remember they had that, was it really like a year or two ago when they were talking about when Microsoft released numbers about what was going on with Game Pass, and they said that the purchases of these games were going up from it, and they were like, wow, that's surprising. It's like, no, it's not, because people were playing it, and then they're playing these games, and then I guess once it gets to that point where they're about to get pulled from the service, people buy it. Or they play it and they're like, wow, I really like this game, I want to support them, and then they buy it. And he said that purchase games from Game Pass was actually up. So it was working on both ends. It was bringing in subs and it was boosting sales.
See, here's I see a half measure, kind of similar but opposite of what you're talking about, Adam. I see Microsoft going for the whole, all the content is on Game Pass right out of the gate, right? Maybe even some exclusive content. Because here's the thing, you don't have to make it exclusive. You don't even have to get in 90% of the players. What you need to do is you need to draw in those whales, right? And if you can draw in those whales who are going to be going after the most complete edition anyway, you draw that hardcore crowd. And in a competitive game like that, the casual crowd is going to follow the hardcore crowd, right? Like, you can have a very light touch here. And just by adding some few small bonuses / incentives on Game Pass, along with not having to buy it, I think you can grab a lot of the hardcore crowd. And then it's going to quickly just evolve into, you can play Call of Duty on PlayStation, but, like, the scene is really on Xbox.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. It's like they're going to incentivize people to get an Xbox, but there's going to be still PlayStation guys that are just like, I want to just play it on PlayStation.
Yeah, they'll never take it away from you. They're just going to take the competitive aspect of it more towards the Xbox side.
Yeah, pretty much. By the way, am I the only one that kind of gets bored of this topic? What does Sony have to do to retaliate? I was like, come on.
Well, it's always going to be like that. We've seen that with action games. Now, of course, with the Call of Duty and all that stuff, there's always going to be, they have to have their version, right? And when's their version going to come out? It's like, we're past that now. Why? They're good. Sony's good at other things.
It's boring.
Yeah. Well, hold on there, Tony. While I agree with you, I think that another way to look at this is we are in an unprecedented state of the industry where companies are being gobbled up, and we're starting to see really just a few big players kind of rise to the top. It's changing the landscape of gaming in a way that we haven't seen, I don't know, ever, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I still find it fucking boring, though.
No, I agree. In general, we're talking about, tit for tat. Like, look, it's not a 1-to-1, right? Like, it's interesting to talk about when we're talking about things like, Sony reportedly wanting to get Square-Enix. When you talk about the acquisitions that may happen and the ones that are happening, that can be interesting. But the whole, what's so-and-so going to do? Like, I don't know, man. These are huge Goliath companies. They don't react quickly, right? Like, you have time. You have time to go on vacation, come back. Nothing's going to fucking change. Yeah. Right. We'll hear about. There's
time lag, right, Brett?
What's that?
There's time. It's like time lag. Like time dilation. It's like
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of like that time dilation of like the bigger things get, the slower they move in your mind. So like a giant would move super slow, right? Like a giant's crushing the city. Like you could go on vacation and come back and be like, oh, that foot's still coming down.
Exactly. Anyway, let's move on. Next question here, also from Jay Shep. With reports of video game spending being down and a decrease in video game revenue in 2022 from 2021, what effect do you think this will have on games produced in 2023? Do you see this trend continuing in 2023 as well? Yeah, we said this before. This thing's going to go on for a while. The effects of this, I'm even going to go so far as saying it's going to be felt the entire generation. You know, because Brett, like you said, slow moving giants, right? You know, especially with game development, it takes a while, dude. You know,
yeah, well, and there's not as much money, right? Like, there haven't been as many game releases, and there hasn't been as much free income floating around. Honestly, the way that I see this being affected is, and I know somebody's going to argue with me on that, but like, gaming development in a lot of ways has gotten bloated, right? Like, we pay way too much for video games, more than we need to.
Well, and development has,
Well, development and especially advertising has, right? Like, they need to figure out a way to streamline some of that stuff. And it's not about, slapping as many people into a room as possible and having you bleed efficiency to try and get this thing knocked out in time and as much money as possible. Like, I think the future of gaming is going to be more really honing in on, like, a few very talented individuals can make or break a game, from what I've come to realize, especially in today's day and age.
So, Brett, I do have some pushback on that.
Oh,
I do agree that a lot of titles are getting bloated advertisement funding, but usually those are the games that are selling well. It's the Call of Duties, it's the Fortnites, it's the Destinies. Those type of games, they get bloated as advertisements. But, those games are the ones that sell 10, 15, 20 million. GTA 5 is still getting advertisements today, and that game came out, when I was still in school.
Which form of advertising you think is really driving that interest? You think it's just a standard commercial, what we know of commercials during sporting event stuff, or the Twitch streamers that get paid to do it and YouTubers?
I think it's all of it. It's the Twitch streamers that get paid to play their games. It's the commercials. It's the advertisements. It's all of that. But we don't see those type of things for like indie games or AA games for the most part. They just get sort of limited advertisement. So while I do agree that advertisement funding has been bloated for the big games, I would agree, but I don't know how that impacts other games, since those games that are using that type of advertisement are usually the cash cows. They're the big money makers of for the whatever studio or development.
I don't think the big I just don't think it's as efficient as it used to be, right? Like, I think that it's with all the streaming services and everything like that, like, a commercial just doesn't have the punch that it used to. So I think that we're in a place now where they're trying to figure out a good way to engage with their audience. I don't think that they figured it out. That's part of the thing that I think we need to solve, is be more efficient with your marketing.
But think about it.
There are Steam games that rise to the top of the Steam charts that have zero advertising, and they sell millions and millions and millions of copies.
Yeah, but I mean,
with the bits.
Yo, shout out to Piggy Dan. So Brett, I do have a question for you. Let's say, for example, a studio like Sony Japan, they release just a bunch of AA games. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like advertisement hit them? Because, like, for example, a game like Gravity Rush, I don't think there was that much.
Oh, no. I'm saying, like, the top, say, 10% of spenders on games. I think that there's definitely some pork belly in there. That's all I'm saying. That not every video game, just the ones that cost an insane amount of money. Like, we don't need to spend $7 billion to make a fucking video game. We don't. If you need to spend $7 billion to make a video game, you spent some money in there that you honestly didn't need to. I mean, Destiny is a great example. Even aside from the advertising budget.
That's Microsoft when they bought Bethesda.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. But when they made Destiny, they put a ton of money into advertisement, but also they wasted so much goddamn money on conceptual art and ideas that they never fucking used. They were going through a huge chunk of time where they were just paying people top fucking dollar, the best in their fields, money to just throw shit at a wall and see what stuck. and about 80% of it didn't. And this is this is admitted by them when you watch the documentary about the making of it. Right?
That's how a lot of games are, though. That's not unique.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
That whole part can be streamlined. You don't need to just
pay
some of the biggest names in the industry to just hurl creative content at you and not use it, right? Like if you're going to build assets that you're going to use.
Well, how do you know you're going to be able to use it? You don't know.
Yeah,
that's not how game development works.
I could say the same thing for movies.
No, it's different. Man, get in here. Get in here. Yeah.
The thing about it is that, as somebody who now works in game development, it's not a very simple answer of just just use whatever. There's a lot of testing. There's a lot of ability. The things that you couldn't do that you intended to do. So you're going to end up building a lot of stuff that it may not end up being in your final game. And that's just the way the industry goes. As the games start to get more complicated, that means the more testing and iteration has to happen behind the scenes. It means ending up going down a road that may be a worthless road, and having to go back to formula and start again.
So
it's not an idea. It's not an idea of it's not like comic books or in movies where you can make these, you can essentially course correct, early on in the script stage. You can course correct while you're filming, and you can course correct while you're editing. You just trim the fat at a lot of, even in films, even in films, there's, how many times have you heard, all this stuff was left on the,
that's why we get those director's cuts.
We get those director's cuts,
hour long.
Yeah.
No, and I
so none of these things are they're open. They're still sort of open-ended. So it's like, again, if you're going to go down the road of having a simple idea, yes, you're not going to have a lot of iteration. You're not going to have a lot of additional building that needs to be done. You're just, we're making a beat 'em up.
So let me ask you guys this from the opposite side. Are you saying that most big games are about as efficient with their money management as they could be?
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
Well,
I can answer. How do you know? How do you know on day one that you're gonna run into a wall of development? Like your team can't deliver exactly what the original plan was.
No, I think we're saying different things. I'm not saying that never happens, right?
Yeah, but it's like, again, obviously. The idea is to try to stay under budget, and an idea to try to not blow as much money as possible, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and a lot of times it seems to not happen. We're seeing it all the time, with a lot of these bigger games. And then the other factor of this is we have these bigger, more complicated systems, and then you have games that are come out broken. Look at Cyberpunk.
But Cyberpunk is a perfect example. They wasted so much money paying upper management that didn't do anything except hinder the game's development. The people working the boots on the ground, right? They weren't getting paid enough, but the people who were their boss were making way too much fucking money.
I think the thing about with the situation of Cyberpunk is that they were unwilling to listen to the people that knew what the fuck was going on. They had their vision, and they wanted that vision no matter what, rather than looking at what was going on. And when the developers are saying, "Listen, we cannot. This is a complicated game. We cannot have this by development by the due date," and they're like, "No, well, you have to have it by the due date." How many times have you ever heard that before? I've heard that before.
But see,
where it's
that's a perfect example. You're spending too much money paying your upper management who has big ideas but no idea what the fuck they're doing, and you're bleeding efficiency by not being in contact with your development team, right? Like you're burning money.
But the thing is that how do you tell the founders of your company that they're fucked up and they really need to get their shit together? They're paying the bills. You're telling them what's going on, and they're still telling you can get it done. Despite you knowing what the issues are. So I think the thing.
Yeah, no one's disagreeing with that. We're just saying that we can't give okay, this happens in movies, therefore it must be like that in games. We can't really say stuff like that.
No, we can't really say stuff.
Yeah, I can say in general that any gigantic bloated system that is full of big personalities with name recognition attached to them.
The thing about bloated personalities is that they're always the guys at top, and you cannot, as a lonely person at the bottom, you can't tell that guy what is.
I never said anything on who gets to tell anything who. All I could say is I could be talking
if they are the initial problem, then they have to understand that they are the problem. But most people never see that. They just see this is my vision. I want this to happen, and it doesn't matter. We'll sit here as long as possible to get this done.
But that doesn't negate the fact that that's where the money is being.
That's we're talking about Hauser Brothers. We're talking about these guys at Cyberpunk.
So does that make how do you
gain efficiency when the actual people, essentially the people at top are literally causing the inefficiency within the company?
I get what you're saying, but it still doesn't make my statement any less true, man.
I feel like this conversation is kind of irrelevant.
We've had it before.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the way video games are being made, because all the interest and the motivation for all of this is money, to make the most money possible. Back in the day, we would get a bunch of games, like 3 GTA games in a span of 5 years, because they couldn't make a lot of money in an online system that has microtransactions. Today, we have all these, and yes, they are bloated advertisements, but guess what? Games like Destiny, games like Cyberpunk, they've all made their money back. All of them.
Well, when we're talking about how games aren't making their money, and what are we going to do in the future, and I understand why you guys say this might not be relevant, but it is relevant. The whole games aren't making as much money. Okay, in the future, maybe games need to spend a little less money. That is a possibility.
They are making money. That's the thing. The Cyberpunk people and the Destiny people. Well, the Cyberpunk maybe learned their lesson because but they've made hand over fist a bunch of fucking money.
But that was the question. We just cited that video games are making less money. How are video game companies going to respond? And my response is maybe spend a little less money.
Oh no! We're making it. No. It's making the video. No, the initial thing is the video game industry in 2020 in the last quarter has made less money than the same quarter in 2021. That's a whole different conversation of why that's the case. But in terms of
the question is, will this be going on in 2023? That's the question.
And the answer is it depends on if there's games coming out at that time. Yeah. Because in 2022 there weren't any games, so how can we even?
Carlos, 2023. The games are supposed to come out this year, and in 2021 are coming out in 2023. All I'm saying is this is going to keep going for the majority of this generation. But let's move on, because we've had this specific money conversation before, and with the same results, nobody could agree. So we'll move on here. Mob hits. All right. Will Call of Duty replace what Halo was on Xbox as the FPS staple of that system? Call of Duty already did that in 2007. It already did that. It already did that. It already did that. Again, I say this on Throwdown all the time, and I'll say it again. I find it ironic how we spent years trying to make the Halo killer. Meanwhile, Call of Duty was there doing his thing in the background, right? Doing a little World War II game, and then that ended up being the Halo killer. It's hilarious, man.
All they had to do is go modern.
That's it. That's all they had to do. So we don't need to get into that. Yeah, Call of Duty is already the staple of Xbox shooter. So there you go.
It's a staple of both
shooters. It's the staple shooter, period.
Yeah, that's part we haven't had either of the big two really develop a truly good exclusive shooter.
Yeah, Carlos, what's a bigger shooter on PlayStation than Call of Duty and Xbox?
Oh no, I'm not saying from PlayStation, but I'm saying, like, for example, Fortnite, I would say is in sort of the same category as a Call of Duty in terms of as being the solidified shooter, but
there's free to play.
Yeah, but I mean,
so I'll say you're right and wrong, or you know what I'm saying? It's like it is, but it isn't. It is a shooter, but it's not the same type of shooter.
It's its own thing. It's battle royale, but he's right.
But it's also a shooter. You know,
yeah, because Tony, if you ask, I forgot which one of your nephews, but if you ask one of your nephews which is the solidified shooter, I think one of your nephews will say like Fortnite.
Yeah, one of them. The other one's going to say Call of Duty.
Yeah, the other one's going to say Call of Duty.
You know, I think you guess which age range they fall in. But basically, I don't know the answer to that. I'm not going to take a stance because I don't know.
But there's a subgenre for all that because then, shooters, okay, but then is it third person or first person? There's plenty of people that just like third person over the shoulder. They don't like that first person. They don't like that feel of view.
It just depends on how deep on the semantics you want to get to. I mean, if you just want to say shooter.
I think that's as deep as it goes. Because that's the most too common when it comes to consoles, either first person or third person. No one's doing point and click shooters. They're not interested in that shit.
All right, move on here. Which of the two would happen first, or will happen first? PlayStation first party day and date on PC, or day and date first party on PlayStation Plus. That'll be first. Yeah. If anything happens, it'll be PlayStation.
Neither.
Plus. No.
Actually,
of these two, we have to pick one, Brett.
I say PC because they have said that putting it out day and date would devalue their games. They don't seem to share that same disposition exactly towards their PC releases.
But they seem to only throw the PC releases after they already made their money, you know?
No, I agree, and that's a fair situation. But if you're going to get sprung on one, they think that this is a better way to make money doing it with the PC way. But they're definitely never going to release day-and-date games because that would devalue their games.
Yeah, they're not. It's just for the. I agree with that. But we don't want to say never. But Sony has stated they're not going to do day-and-date games. But of these two, which is more likely, I think PS Plus is more likely than PC.
I think PS Plus is more likely than PC.
Yeah, can I convince you guys? Sony will. It's definitely what you guys are saying. It's a PlayStation Plus day and date game because there's always going to be that one PlayStation game that's not one of their big hitters. It's not going to be the God of War. It's not going to be the Spider-Man. It's not going to be the Last of Us. But it's going to be one of those smaller tier PlayStation first party games. I don't know, maybe like a PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, whatever that thing is called. That type of game that they're just shooing in because they trying to make a lot of money. And they might not have traction. They'll just release a day and date on PlayStation Plus so they can get the install base.
Well, really? You guys think that Sony is more likely to give away a free game than to sell it on another medium or another system?
No, the thing about it is they're unless their focus changes to incorporate both PC and PlayStation, their main deal is the PlayStation itself, the console.
Yeah.
Why would they throw a monkey wrench into a potential sale of a console and a game?
The sale of the game would be throwing the monkey wrench, and the potential sale of the game would be putting it on PlayStation Plus day and date for free.
No,
right?
Brett, go ahead.
You can't imagine Sony ever releasing a free to play game that's available on PS Plus.
I don't think free to play counts for this shit. I don't think free to play counts for this question.
The question doesn't give that specific criteria, so
it would count, Anyway, listen.
I think they've already done that, haven't they?
I feel like it have, but I can't
games
remember.
On there. Probably have. Somebody let it.
They've thrown quite a few first party games on there, but they're not going to throw Horizon Zero's Dawn on there day one. Right. They haven't thrown something like a Horizon Zero Dawn.
They'll throw Back for Blood kind of thing on there, and if that counts, sure, but that's not really a game that you buy, so I don't really see that as being the same thing.
At this point in time, I don't I still feel like. If out of the two, I think they would have more of a essentially keep it within the ecosystem of their console and still have it be one of their be that the game that they release on PlayStation Plus.
Okay, does the answer change if we take free to play out of the equation? I'm curious.
No, I don't know. I don't think it's even free to play. I think if out of given a choice, I think they would if they were pushing the PlayStation Plus service, pushing that, maybe there's higher tier PlayStation Plus service, they would most definitely put one of their first parties on there.
Okay.
More than they would throw it out on PC.
Even though they've said that they wouldn't, and that they think that devalues their games.
Well, the thing about it is that we're being asked a hypothetical question: what would Sony do out of the two? Release it directly to PC, or release it to PlayStation Plus? And what I believe, and I think what a lot of us believe, is it'll be PlayStation Plus.
Because that's where their subscribers are, and maybe
that's where the subscribers are.
Yeah, they get more subscribers that way. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Yeah. That's given. That's given if they are trying to push their PlayStation Plus service. They will not do the day and date on the other on something like just a PC game, because I feel like it doesn't help what they've already sort of invested in. Unlike Microsoft, where it is their kind of functioning that all of the things that Microsoft is on is their Microsoft is Xbox anywhere. It's not a console, it's not a PC, it's not a this or it's a that. I think the PlayStation, at least for them, they find their, again with their 2 or 1 year release later, when all the numbers go down, I think it works out for them because it gives them an extra shot in the arm as into their some of their titles.
I think so too. I just see them opening up an additional stream of revenue rather than changing their entire business approach.
Well,
because they said they are not doing games as a service. That is not that they're trying.
Okay, so that is Brett's answer.
I will say this though, Brett. By putting it day one on PC or day one on PSN Plus is changing their approach.
That's also
yeah. One just feels like it's changing it further for me.
Yeah. Well, I understand. I understand your reasoning, but for me, the reason why I choose PSN Plus is because I mentioned this, several months ago, is there is a possibility that Sony will attempt to do exactly and follow the formula that Microsoft is doing and putting all their first party games day and date. And when that happens is because they feel threatened by Game Pass, and whenever they have to change their strategy. And that's because at some point, if Game Pass becomes a zeitgeist, then just every single person is going to expect games to be on their subscription service day and date. And they're going to start asking Sony, it's like, why don't you do that? And they're not asking that question right now because Game Pass is still in its infancy stage, and Sony is making bread and crazy money off of these first party games. So whenever Game Pass gets to the place where it's zeitgeist or near zeitgeist level, that's when Sony's going to pivot, and then that's when they're going to start changing their strategy and doing exactly what everyone expects.
Hit the fan, I think, for that point to come. It's going to take something drastic. Like, they're seeing ridiculous numbers and drops in subscriptions for them to go that far.
The reason, and another reason why I don't think they'll do the PC strategy first, although it could happen, is the PC strategy is a good move now for Sony because it creates another bubble of excitement for a game that's already been out for over a couple of years. People are talking about Spider-Man right now, and everyone's going crazy over it. On my Steam Deck?
Unless you're at Polygon. Oh,
okay. Here's the thing. I'll counter your hypothetical with another hypothetical. I see the possibility of an online game dropping where they're going to want to boost their concurrent player numbers as much as possible so that they release it on PC as well with crossplay.
Yeah, I think that's the most. I can
see that happening. All right, moving on. Another question from Kish. Okay, we're moving on right now to Kishak. Oh boy, another one. You guys are on fire with this shit, man. Should PlayStation show its? And let me finish this one, guys, because this is a little bit tied to the other one talking about before. Should PlayStation show its roadmap for the next 3 to 4 years to quiet the gamers who complain that the company is too secretive and not talkative enough? I understand that PlayStation's strategy of only showing stuff when it seems necessary, but it looks like gamers nowadays are turning into Marvel fans who want to see their entire roadmap before the games even begin production. Here's what I find funny. People were pissed at Sony because they showed Death Stranding and The Last of Us and Spider-Man years before they came out. And now they're mad for whatever reason. But the thing is, no company could show their roadmap for 3 or 4 years. No gaming company can, because shit could change, as we talked about in the previous segment. So no, they can't even do that. So I guarantee you, whatever roadmap Sony has right now, or any game company has right now, it will not be the same 4 years from now. It'll be completely different, as we've seen. So no, that wouldn't work. Because again, gaming is not like making movies or making comics or making novels. It is completely different.
Well, I guess they're doing it because it's like the roadmap that what Microsoft sort of did, where they literally showed up all those companies that they bought.
At most they could do a year in advance, but even that could be dicey. Remember, Microsoft, you're right, Manny. Microsoft showed off its roadmap for this year. Some things are already getting delayed. Yeah, so it's like, come on now. It's
that weird fine line that when you haven't seen something for a long time and keeping your people, everybody engaged as to what's going to be coming next. But yeah, like you think about how long ago they talked about, Senua's Sacrifice and the fact that, they got Double Fine and all these other companies, and we keep saying, oh yeah, they got things coming. But how long were they? I mean, granted, how long will it be till we see a lot of that stuff actually come to fruition?
Yeah.
So does that then what happens? We get a situation like Crackdown, where they literally announced the game that they didn't have anything for.
I say problems with that though. That's the thing. They figured they'll just build off of the original world that they had, and then they had a lot of problems with that build. Because remember, they wanted to make where the whole world is destructible and it's gonna be amazing.
And then they switched it. Then they downplayed it, and then they said, "Oh no, you can do it. You can only do it. You can only do it in online mode."
And this goes back to what we were talking about before. You can't account for that sort of stuff.
But you be really transparent about your hardware and shut the fuck up about your software until 11 months ahead of time.
You got shareholders, you got to hype things, you got to sell. It's all about the pre-order still, because that's their gauge. It's no different than other services where, go get your movie tickets now for a movie that's coming out next year. It's like, why? Because we want to know that there's an interest. Can you do that, please?
That shit is just dumb, because then you just keep putting the carrot further and further ahead of the horse. At a certain point, if you hadn't started that shit, you'd be having stock interest based off the shit that you're releasing in 11 months. But because you've decided to start announcing shit 4 years ahead of time, you just need to keep pushing further and further ahead. Eventually, it's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, what type of monetization plan for a live service game do you think is fair for both the developers and the players? As a single-player gamer, I have been noticing more and more that if a live service game's costs require a purchase of the game, gamers seem to not like implementations of a battle pass or cosmetics because the game costs money. When it comes to free-to-play games, gamers seem to be okay with battle passes and cosmetics, but then we start arguing about the price of items and what price point is fair. Either way, someone has to pay the piper, because there's no way you're getting a $60 or $70 live service game with no microtransactions, battle pass, and expecting the game to have enough content to last for a year. That game is going to die without monetization.
People always gonna bitch. You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah. So what? I know you're right, but they're gonna be complaining regardless. But the main question is, what type of monetization plan for a live service game do you think is fair for both developers and the players? So basically, developers get their money, and their players don't feel cheated. This is an interesting question.
It works, but it works now. This is why the battle pass system has replaced the need to buy map packs, because it does work. Because the idea is, yes, there is a tier where you can buy this stuff, but you do not have to. You can grind for it if you want to.
You think that works?
It works because they're all adopting it. We see the Division did it shortly after it started getting picked up by Call of Duty, which also picked it up from Fortnite that started, and Fortnite's still making it.
Just because it's making people money doesn't necessarily mean that it works.
Who's buying it? That's the people. If they're buying it,
Adam,
then it is
do you think it's fair, though?
I think it is fair, because there is at least a path to get that content free.
And it doesn't bother you that some people can just pay money to just waltz through that door.
That doesn't impact me. It's cosmetics. You want little Shotsky shits and leprechaun thingies and 4-leaf clovers on your gun when you're shooting? Fine. I don't need that shit. I don't care.
That bothers me because then it incentivizes them to lock those things behind paywalls to try and extort money out of you instead of letting you get them in an organic fashion.
That's always the what effect. Right?
Well, no, not necessarily.
No, it's always no. Even before this, even with map packs, when we got map packs, like, why wasn't that already in the game? What do you mean? You already remember with the Batman Arkham Knight? Remember when they announced that and they announced all these other DLCs right off the bat, and they're like, "Oh, we got this plan." I'm scared. Wait. Why wasn't all that put in the game? You're telling me all the stuff later on. Usually they don't do that. The game comes out and then shortly after, hey, guess what? We got this new stuff coming. We just worked on it. No, they made it seem like, oh, we're going to start milking you from here until next year.
I don't agree with map packs either.
You see, you got to understand the developers. If that's the case, then it's like a paint shop. Go do your painting. Now what do we do? Now you go find another paint shop, and we'll call you when we need you. These developers, they need a constant job, and if they're not anything in the studio, then what are they going to do?
Subscription service, man.
Subscription. Do you prefer subscription service?
I absolutely prefer subscription service because it aligns the motivations with everybody so that they're the happiest, right? If you are paying $15 a month to play Warcraft or something like that, your main thing is, I want to be having fun. I want to be able to enjoy my time there, and I want to be having fun. And the developers, their goal is to keep you having fun so you spend more time there so that you keep going back. And their other goal then is to make a game that you want to get into and you want to get your friends into so that they spend time there as well. It aligns everybody's motivation, so nobody's actually getting fucked.
No. Can you imagine all the games? You already know all the games I play. Can you imagine if all of those had subscription services? Holy shit.
How many live service games do you play?
Not live service. You're saying if all these
No, we're talking live.
If you get rid of
the question was for live service games.
But they were talking about which tier systems with battle passes and all these other things going in. And if this is the current model, well, how do we feel? And I like the way things are now. You're saying you prefer if those things all switch to a subscription. I would
live service games, yes.
I would not want to pay a subscription because there's no guarantee that I would want any of that stuff. All that other shit that they put in the battle passes and stuff, there's no guarantee I want any of that. And when I see it and I see the seasons that come out and I figure out, is it worth me playing this? Do I want to play? Oh, I don't? Okay, then I don't. But I don't want to have to feel like, oh, wow, I just paid $15 a month. Now I sort of have to do it because, hey, I'm already paying monthly for it.
Dude, $15 a month? I mean, if you look at it, that's like buying a new game every 4 months, right? Which, if you're playing a game constantly, like, yeah, in my opinion, yeah, I'll buy it a few times a year. If I'm playing it constantly, if I have a whole year's worth of games for $180, sure, I'm down all day long. Especially, again, if it levels the playing field. Half the point of playing a game with other people kind of gets ruined when Richie Rich rolls in with all the best fucking shit that they clearly just bought. Even if it's just cosmetics. Even if it's just cosmetics, because then everything is locked under there. If I want to get a cosmetic, I have to suffer through some RNG bullshit.
But
so that this other guy can come through and get his...
But I mean, like even when we did that for the Division 2, when we all played, when they did that Resident Evil, remember that time, Tony?
Yeah.
And Chris, when we played, now that was part of the season, and there is a pay that you could have bought all that shit. We spent a few hours just doing all that, and we got the whole outfit. We had all that Resident Evil gear. We already had it, and we didn't buy anything. So it's like, oh, that's great, as opposed to somebody who just sort of paid outright for everything. I was like, all right, fine. If you have the money, go ahead. But if you actually plan on playing it, and we did, we wanted to play the missions and stuff. They had it, and we just wound up getting it in the loot boxes. That's part of completing the missions.
Yeah. So again, just to get to the heart of the question, So Adam, you think the current model is fair?
I think it's fine. I think it's fair. The one that's not fair is the whole ultimate team system, the ultimate team system that EA is doing with all their sport games, because that really is a pay to win. Because these packs are not just giving you cosmetic; these are giving you higher player cards. So you could go against somebody who's been playing for hours and weeks and months. And you could see their rankings and all stuff, and they could have a new guy who just says, "You know what? I got $500. I'm going to throw this in the store. I'm going to get all these packs. I'm going to get all these high-end cards, and I'm going to build the ultimate team." And you're just going to smash everybody. And then it's like, oh, it's a pay to win. That's it. You didn't have to work your way up to get good player cards. You could just give them the money and get it. That's bullshit.
Yeah, anybody else want to chime in on this?
I just have a few things to bounce back at Brett for. So, Brett, the biggest issue I take with what you're saying is that it puts the trust that the developers will actually give a good product. Because if you are subscribing for the game, then you're essentially just saying to them like, "Hey, here's my money. Now I'll wait for you to give me something back that is worth it." And again, the problem is I don't trust many devs because for the most part they don't do that. They just give you shit back.
Actually, the first month is free.
But it's still afterwards. That's kind of the problem, you know.
Well,
but then let's say that they don't hook you in for the first month,
but
so that they can say, oh, "Okay, first month is free. Here's the good stuff." But then afterwards, you just get crap. You know.
Well, yeah, but that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but I'm saying it aligns your motives. Like, they want you to keep coming back. You want to keep wanting to come back. I'm a big believer in aligning people's motives is the best way to stop them from wanting to fuck each other. That it's a thing I read about in Freakonomics. It makes a whole lot of sense to me. And having motives align where everybody wants me in this game as much as possible and to keep being there for as long as possible, which means that you're going to try and develop content that at worst is going to be a time sink, but at most is going to make me keep wanting to come back. Right? And it also encourages you to keep making new content. You have my money. I expect new content. If I burn through this content at the end of the month and there isn't new content for me, well, then I might not resubscribe at the end of the month.
I guess. But anyway, to answer the question, I'd say that, and again, this is from personal experience, that the best model that I've seen, now this is not the best overall, it's just the best I've seen that I can recall, is the Warframe model.
I knew you were going to say Warframe.
It actually, again, the model itself, I think, is really good and it's really fair. So those are the two main important things. So anytime that any type of new, let's say class for the sake of argument comes out, then you have the ability to either buy the class with money and you get like a special item to say, hey, okay, you know what, you bought it with money, here's a cosmetic. Again, important thing is that cosmetic is free and by itself. Sorry, is with the bundle, which is fine. But also you have the ability to play the game with the new content and receive the reward through gameplay at the same time. Obviously, that will take a bit more because, again, you need to actually play a game. So hence you have that choice of doing either or. And I think that is perfectly fine because, one, it's free to play. So hence you have the ability to pay to get whatever new thing is out. And then you can enjoy it straight away, or your ability to just play for free and get it that way as well. So I think that's the most fair that I've seen. Most other things I've seen have just been some really weird stuff that I disagree with. Most looking at the Battle Pass for Call of Duty, I hate the idea that there's two. There's the free one and then there's the paid one. And then they show you the paid one at the same time as the free one to say like, hey, if you'd paid for the good one, this is what you would have gotten, but you don't have it because you didn't pay for it. It's like, that's really scummy.
But you have to grind, and that's the thing. If you want to grind, then you can grind for it. So at least there's an option. If it was like, oh, this is what you're getting. If you don't get it, too bad. Either pay us or get nothing. Sorry. So, and people grind. There's people that enjoy it. They're going to play Call of Duty anyway. This gives them more incentive to do certain challenges. Oh, I got to kill 15 more people with a certain type of sniper gun to get this skin on it. All right, fine, I'll do that.
Now, Adam, let me ask you. Do you not think that the developers are motivated to make you have to grind an abnormally long period of time to try and incentivize you to buy the cosmetic?
It depends. Because they'll show you the cosmetics and they'll tell you what you have to do. And it's never been I've never seen one that was super outrageous. Besides, I think there was one that you had to get like 1,000 kills in a certain. It was like in zombies, which isn't too bad because the zombies are just running at you. But you had to put a lot of time into it if you didn't like zombies. And it was for a certain type of weapon skin. But most of the time, it's nothing too crazy like that. It's not like, 10,000 kills and this. I was like, that's going to take a year or something, like what happened with the Battlefield stuff. Remember, we're like, this is going to the Battlefront. No, I haven't seen anything like that. But it's always in your face that there is an option when you boot up Call of Duty, you see that splash screen pops up first. Oh, we're in this season. This is all the stuff you can get. This is stuff you can grind for, or you could just buy it. And then they do discounts. They'll throw all these, this is on sale today, or this get some coins that'll help you get some of the parts for it. You missed last season's stuff, because once the season's gone, that's it. Then it's gone, and then you move on to the next one. But you want to get the last season stuff, you can use COG points or Call of Duty points, and then you can go and get those. It's all about trying to monetize this stuff. But again, none of that stuff really changes the game. It's just all cosmetics. So if you really care that much about that, and I usually don't, I just pick up the gun and I start shooting bitches in the face. So I don't care if I have like a special camo or a little shotski on it or any of that stuff. Now, if I could only get super weapons, if I'm picking up a fucking super laser gun with a scope and there's no other way to get it, and I killed some dude and he had it, yes, I would get hot, because I'm like, damn, I can't. What, I have to buy this? Yeah, you have to buy. You can't grind for this, buddy. You have to buy. Then that's gonna suck. Because then it's like, now you really made it unfair, because this guy could just buy it. And remember, there was a few years ago, there was that report that came out that they were some kind of algorithm that once you purchase, these people were purchasing weapons or weapon skins and those type of things. They were getting instant headshots and all this stuff for like the first few weeks. Right. And that would incentivize them to tell their buddies to go get it. Like, oh, it's a great gun. I was getting all these great shots. But really, it was sort of like tweaking it so then that way they're playing better than they actually were. So then that way they can tell their buddies to go buy it to make it seem like they've really made a difference. And then
wasn't that Destiny?
I always Call of Duty.
Was that?
I remember. I'm pretty sure maybe Destiny did too, but I remember there was a big deal with the Call of Duty that came up, because they're like, damn, that's fucked up. And then within like a day or two, whatever amount, then next people started sucking again, and they couldn't figure out why. And it's like, well, because the boost wore off.
I forgot what it was, but I kind of
remember that, right?
No, I kind of know what Brett is talking about. But basically, like, you get a gun in Destiny, you're doing really good, and then your buddies want to get it, but then when they come in, they make the gun shitty again, something like that. Well,
it changes. What it does is, it was when you buy a new weapon, you will be put in a room with people who suck with that weapon.
That's what it was.
And what it was. But then after you've been using it for a bit, it'll start pairing you up with people who are way better at that weapon than you.
Yeah, something like that. And this was like not even a rumor; it was reported. Like, they figured this out.
It was in there. I personally can't help feel like. And Adam's right, it doesn't have any bearing on the game, except for, to me, like, the cosmetics are the prizes, right? You take the point out of a rare prize if you just give it to the first person who gives you $10. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not.
Go ahead.
It's not going to affect your performance, but like, it's still at the same time, like, well, now it doesn't really feel special. Now it just feels like I fucking went and bought this shit. Like, I hate in any game wearing anytime you get those a bonus for like buying like a game from GameStop or something like that. Even if it's not pre-order, you just pick it up and they still have the pre-order copies that have the codes in them, right? I will never wear those outfits because they're bought with fucking money, right? Mm-hmm. All they say is that I'm not good enough to go out and get my own fucking cosmetics. But when they put all the good cosmetics behind a fucking paywall, or you have to have 10,000 hours of grinding to get them, it gets super frustrating.
I think the best that I've ever experienced is something like that was Call of Duty World War II, the newest one that came out. When you prestige, once you max out your player and you prestige up, you get a special helmet. And it has like the star ranking right there. And you can keep prestiging and you keep getting this special helmet. And there is no way, there is no battle pass, there is no other system or way to obtain this but prestiging all the way up. And then eventually they removed that, because I guess people were bitching. And I think we're going to get the prestige system back for Modern Warfare 2. But that was awesome, because I prestige like 2 or 3 times in that one. And I felt special that I had this special helmet. And I remember I had some people even send me, where'd you get the helmet? I want to buy the helmet. It's like, no, you have to prestige multiple times. Get hit right level 60. Yeah, and then loop up. And that's how you get that helmet.
Yo, man, you gotta get good.
I spent like 15 hours grinding through to find the one mob in Absolver that had the one move that they threw out 1% of the time to fucking learn the bitch slap move so that I could open all my fights with a bitch slap because nobody had ever seen just like a straight cat fight bitch slap to lead out in the beginning of a fight. It was rare, it was different, it was fun, and I spent so long getting it, and I would not have done that shit if you could have paid $1 for it.
Carlos, do you remember with Halo 3, the flaming helmet? You had to do some stuff to get that one, but did they ever make it where you can just buy it?
Oh, definitely not in Halo 3.
No, right? Because I remember that was a huge deal, and you had to do a lot of shit to get that flaming helmet.
You had to like beat it in Legendary with like skulls on and stuff, I think.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And that was bragging rights instantly. Once you saw somebody jump in, I remember early on, I was like, yo, this dude put in time. That's the first thing I said. I was like, right, he's a hardcore player here.
Or the Galahorn from Destiny, right? That crazy gun.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't put time into Destiny.
Yeah, it was like this one weapon that was like really special to get in Destiny, and you had to do it had a low drop and all kinds of other stuff, and it was also like absurdly powerful. But then they gimped it later on. But you had to do stuff a long time in order to even get it.
And I think all games still have some of that. I know playing Horde mode again in Gears 5, there's a bunch of stuff. Same thing, Prestige, and you get certain things, and there's certain cosmetic outfits you could only get. So I think they all have something like that, but people don't pay attention too much, and they just go for whatever they can just buy or unlock from grinding.
Yeah. All right. Let us move on here. Sir Rich-a-Lot.
I've heard of him. Craigslist.
Yo.
Yes. Right. Yes. Very controversial character.
He bought my sampler.
All right. Which fall 2022 release do you think is most likely to get delayed? Oh, Rich.
See, he was trying to throw us a trick question. They're all delayed.
They're all delayed. Do you know?
There is one that
they have all. They're all delayed or have been delayed.
I think I know which one's going to get delayed, and it hurts.
All right, we can say it with one word. All right, at 3, 2, 1.
Are you sure about that? Because it's not a godly game. I'm thinking.
Oh, come on! I was gonna say boy.
No, I don't think it's. I mean, it could be that. But the game that came to my mind that'll hurt me the most, even though that one would be hurt. Here's the thing: with God of War, that's been delayed so many times that I'm used to it. I think Callisto Protocol is going to get delayed.
Oh yeah,
I think out of all, because it's December, they could be like, "Hey, we're coming out in January now."
They did it wasn't a placeholder. They bragged. They did another trailer, and they threw that date up. They didn't have to do that. They could have just said. They could have just said, holiday season.
Kids, what they do for
maybe Dead Space guy just knows what the fuck he wants, and he can get a game out.
That's it.
But a game like Callisto, it's not like it might be ready, but it might need to get delayed by like a week. Yeah, but getting it delayed a week in December is like no go because
I'm excited for
holiday season. Well, I'm very hyped for that game, but I think that one may get delayed. What about the rest of you guys? What do you think may get delayed this year?
I don't know. To be honest, I have absolutely no interest in all the AAA games that are coming out this year.
All my AAA games already got delayed, so I'm asked out. All my cards, I'm out of the poker game. It's over.
To me, I just look at them like, all right, whatever. I wasn't going to buy it anyway.
I lost. I got no Gears. I got no freaking. My Call of Duty got delayed too.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if God of War gets delayed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I would put my money on Callisto, but God of War does, is second place for me in those highly anticipated games.
Shit, my fucking Halo co-op. I don't think we're ever getting that shit. That's never.
That's lost. That's infinitely delayed.
That's a smack in the face. Yeah. The game came out last year, and then now it's in beta for the co-op. Are you serious?
Get out of here with that.
This is beta now.
Yeah. What's even left this year that's supposed to come out?
Nothing's coming out this year.
Forspoken's next year, isn't it?
Probably.
It got delayed last week.
Funny thing,
it keeps getting delayed.
If you'd asked this question like last week or like a couple weeks back, I genuinely would have said Forspoken as a joke. But then now it did get delayed, so it's kind of like, it's not a joke anymore. It's real.
Just so you know, we're talking about the big games. Real quick disclaimer: the big games. Yes, their games come. We got to Destroy All Humans 2, which is not a remake of anything. That's new. That's continuing, but that's not the big ones. We got Saint Row coming. I don't consider that.
Saints Row is a big one.
It's a big one. That's a big one. That's a big one. That's a big one.
It's coming later this month, though. I don't think it's getting delayed.
That's not
so let me get this straight. I'm in a world with dragons and I got freaking powers.
That's quality writing right there.
Yeah, quality right there, man. But yeah, Saints Row. That's a big one. That's a big one. I don't think that's gonna.
By the way,
no,
I will. I will say this. You know, I saw that trailer, and you know me. I'm the person that always complains about. I'm the dialogue person. And I'm surprised, and I'm kind of sad and disappointed in all my followers. It didn't get more traction. But I saw that video that said that, so you're telling me there is dragons and all that bullshit. And then I just quote tweeted that video and I put subs over dubs.
Hilarious.
Because that was terrible, man.
That was bad. That was really bad.
Is this for Saints Row?
No, Forspoken. The latest
game
trailer.
that keeps getting forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh, that video.
Yeah, did you see that, Brett? Oh, are you?
I saw.
Oh my god.
I saw.
So you're saying, Brett?
Number one, if that girl was from New York, she wouldn't be like, "Oh, you kidding me? I don't."
Yo, they got dragons in this motherfucker.
Well, it depends on what type.
Actually,
what side of the track.
No, you ain't tell me they got dragons this big.
Yeah, that's what she should have been like. She doesn't. I mean, she just sounds like some valley girl. Like that ain't.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, no. Yeah, you're like, yo, dragons? Oh hell no.
Yeah. See, now that would be.
That's New York right there.
No, she's supposed to be from New York City.
She's supposed to be from New York City. The actress is British though.
Actress is British. No, she should see. Yo, man, if I would have done that.
No. You're like, yo, did I end up in the Bronx?
Yeah, exactly. I would have doubled down on her sounding like she's from the Bronx or something, just to get it right.
I didn't notice that she was supposed to be from New York.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
she's supposed to be from New York.
Promote that.
It makes it even worse.
Yeah, oh my god, it sounds like a valley girl. So like, there's dragons.
Heavy rain.
So there's like dragons.
Like dragons.
They should have found the female equivalent to Carlos. Yo, damn!
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's twirling around in there. She's like,
well, that's a more realistic expression to make when you're in a fucking alternate dimensional world. It's like,
yo, this shit is crazy. Like hip hop gamer.
Hip hop, yeah.
Nah, they should have got somebody who sounded like they were from New York.
Yeah.
If again, to be honest, I wouldn't have minded if Homegirl just did her own accent, because they keep getting her to do other people's accents, other types of accents. Just do your own.
Hey, I'm flying here.
No, well, that would be if she's like she has like a Brooklyn accent. Hey, what's going on here?
Hey, what's going on? Flying over here, I got powers.
She can still have an English accent, live in New York. I mean, there's people.
But she doesn't have a. She's
sounds like a valley girl. From New York. She's not like implant from from California who just moved to New York.
Yeah, she said, she grew up her whole life in the mean streets.
She grew up the mean streets. She doesn't sound like she grew up in the mean streets of New York.
So let me get this straight. There's dragons.
There's dragons, and I've got powers.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm flying,
and it's bad.
It's pretty bad.
Streets? What do they consider mean streets?
Yeah, man. You know who was a cool character, a black character in game. The girl from Remember. She was cool. I like that chick.
What game?
Remember Me. You forgot it.
Oh, I get it.
Not get it.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember that game, but I never played it. But that's a PS3 game.
She was a cool character. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, she was cool.
No, she was.
Everything
cool.
has to end with a question with these Valley girls,
She had.
Oh my God.
I think she had a London accent or something.
Interesting.
In the Remember game?
Yeah, Remember Me. She had a bit of a downtown Julie Brown feel to her. Yeah.
Wubba.
Yeah, you remember.
I remember. You remember. All right. Let's move on here. Another one from Mr. Sir Rich-a-Lot. Are any of y'all actually looking forward to the Saints Row reboot, or do you think this will be an automatic flop?
To be honest, I never cared for the original Saints Row. So
I never cared for it. I don't think it's gonna flop. I think there's I
don't think it's gonna flop. But the things I've heard about this game make me uneasy. How they said they're gonna not have as raucous comedy as they used to. You know, I'm like, that's the whole point of Saints Row. Supposed to be fucking crazy.
It's supposed to be. I think people are getting afraid of having like that type of humor now. Humor that sort of humor that takes shots at everybody.
They're afraid of humor. Period. It seems like, you know.
It seems like.
Yeah.
Now, so what are they going to do now? They're just going to do a bunch of shitty ass Dane Cook humor, where they literally just talk about nostalgia bullshit. Yeah, hey, you remember that game where you punch the guy down the street and he punch the can?
He popped up on the news recently.
Yeah, he did because
what did he do?
He's dating like a 23-year-old girl or something.
Okay.
But I'm like, they're both adults. Who cares? You know?
Yeah. No. You know, it was because it's because the whole thing was he's like he's engaged to a 23-year-old girl, and they've been together for 5 years. So it's like everyone's trying to do the math.
No. They said that's his longtime girlfriend. People are like, what do you mean by long time?
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
Like, that was his time, bruh.
That was his high school sweetheart he just married, who's 25 years old.
Yeah, because if he's getting with her when she's in her 20s, okay. But you know, if it was a long time, what does long time mean? You know,
I mean, you're only
it better be 5 years. It better be 5 years.
Yeah, like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, at least 5 years.
You know. Anyway, what was the question? I'm thinking about Dane Cook. What a fucking he sucked. You know.
Yeah, he was a horrible.
Yeah, he was.
I hate.
Hey, remember the '80s? Like that was literally his whole shtick.
You know? Yeah, remember from one movie. Was it Employee of the Month?
No,
he was garbage in that too.
Saints Row flop. I don't think it'll flop. I think it'll.
I don't like Employee of the Month because Jessica said.
There's not enough games out for it to flop. People will buy it just for something to play.
You know.
That could be that is a very good point, Brett.
Yeah.
Like with the amount of like AAA sort of like games that are like that, there aren't really enough. It's not like it's releasing against something like an actual Grand Theft Auto or a big cornerstone game like the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Yeah.
So it may just win. It may just squeeze through, just like the way the original Crackdown did. You know, where it was released at a time where it was like, I want something.
I mean, I'll be honest, that's probably why I'm going to pick it up.
It was bundled with Halo 2.
Right? No, that was just
it had the demo. It had the demo, but it was also released at a really dry sort of time. Like it didn't have that much competition it couldn't overtake.
That was a super fun game. Get your buddy in the car, take the car, throw it up on the roof with him in it.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Anybody else? All right. Saints. Whatever. Got a couple extra questions here from Mob Hits.
Whoa!
Which are sponsored generously by a certain fella named Romudeth.
The Prime Lord?
The Prime Lord, you know. All right. First question. With no AAA exclusives this holiday, could Microsoft make Xbox Series X or S appealing if it launched a family share sub option, as well as cut the Series S price by $50 to $70 and also have some third-party exclusives on Game Pass?
None of that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's going to happen. If anything, they would just add more time of Game Pass to the Series S. So like, hey, you get this and get like 2 years or some shit.
I got a question, and Adam, this one's specifically for you. Is this? Cause I don't have, you have a family. Is this family sharing thing a big deal?
It depends. It depends because it's not just family; it's friends. It's other people. If let's say I get in, my brother gets in, Brett gets in, and next we're all chipping in just $5 or whatever, and then we can get this for multiple years, then yeah, it works out. If we're all committed, then that's an awesome system. That's what people do right now with the Switch family plan. I got some buddies that's how they do it. They all chip in, and they pay for multiple years, and that's it, done.
I mean, I remember, back in the day, Tony, weren't you teaming up with some other guys on PlayStation Plus or something, or somebody we knew did that?
Yeah, but that wasn't a family plan, though. That was just
it wasn't a family. It was just a bunch of people just playing, right?
Yeah. Because I don't know, how do family plans work? Like how do you?
It's usually you get like a certain amount that you can have part of it, a certain amount of consoles for a set price.
Okay, interesting.
Not all.
Yeah, you and 5 other people.
Yeah, and they don't all have to be in your house. It's not like, we're going to check it by IP.
Yeah, so like, how do they verify your family members or not?
No, you just, whoever creates
you make your own family, Tony.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
you make
that.
your own family. You make your own family and you group them up. group them up, and then that's it. You just everybody who's part of it gets added, and then you can share those games and you can play online at the same time, no matter what game it is. If someone else is playing, it's okay because it's all part of family plan. Because right now it doesn't work that way. Now it's like you could have multiple consoles, but your primary has to be the one that doesn't always have to be online, but the secondary does. It's weird. So it's like my one that I set for the kids downstairs is on the Xbox, right? That one has to be the primary, because then my main one, even though it's my main account, my main box, if the internet goes out or something, it has to always have a dedicated connection. And it's weird. You would think your primary one with the account needs that, but it doesn't. It's your secondary that needs that. It's fucking weird. It's a pain in the ass, pretty much. But this will alleviate that. You won't have to worry about it and just have a bunch. And I think that's why, because they know it's a pain in the ass. People are always trying to figure this shit out. And they're like, well, there's a simpler way. We'll just make a family plan. You add a bunch of boxes. They're assuming people will do that within their household. You know, they got kids, they got brothers or whatever, roommates, that type of deal. But you don't have to be roommates or anything. You don't have to be in the house. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think Xbox is going to do any of this stuff. They're not going to cut the price of the console. They're not. I mean, they may. What third-party exclusives? There's no games coming out.
I honestly think they need to do that.
They need to, but what games? There's no games.
No. I don't think they need to do that. Like,
you don't? Okay.
It's no. I mean, it's not a holiday season kind of thing, right?
He is asking for the holiday season.
No, I'm saying it's not limited to the holiday season. That's my response to that.
This question is.
I know, and that's why my answer to this question is I don't think they need to worry about it, because it doesn't actually have to be over by this holiday. Like, Sony isn't getting locked in this holiday with no big games coming out and supplies still a pain in the ass to get. They're not getting locked in. So then it just comes down to, like, who's going to start releasing exclusive games first? And that can be a next year thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody else want to jump in on this? Take that as a no. Again, it's hard to answer this up because we don't know what the hell's going. The game industry is all whack right now.
Well, we just go based off of what they used to do before, and they would just add more games to it. And now it's all about Game Pass, so I could just see them adding more time to the Game Pass. So instead of a year, maybe you get 2 years, that type of deal.
I can see that because that would be twofold bonus, because it would definitely help boost their Game Pass numbers up for their investors as well. So
yeah.
I can see them doing that, but they're not going to come out with any big games this holiday season that we don't know about.
Yeah, no, they're not going to. They would have bragged about that. They would have. Yeah, remember, it's very rare when you're like, oh, this game's coming out now. Like, oh, here's a game announcement. It's coming out in 2 weeks or something. That's very rare when that happens. All right, next question here. Would a cloud-based Xbox handheld be as popular as the options currently available? No. I don't think so.
And they're not going to do it. They had no plans of that. That's why Uncle Phil was all happy to just get this shit working on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, Phil's like, hey, play your Xbox games from Steam Deck.
Can you guys describe what the question means? Because I don't think I understand it.
Should they make a handheld for the cloud? Should Xbox, since they're putting this shit on all the other systems, should they consider?
No, I don't think so, because we have terrible internet in America. Like, to do a completely streaming cloud-based handheld, that would suck. And two, why would Microsoft waste resources? And like you said, there's a Steam Deck. Why not just help them, like get Xbox, Game Pass and cloud working on there, and say, here you go, that's your option. They don't need to spend money on R&D and hardware.
Yeah. Also, I think this question is partly inspired by Logitech? I think they announced something. It was Logitech, right? Like a cloud-based handheld or something. If it wasn't Logitech, please correct me.
Isn't every one of your devices already a cloud-based handheld?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Tablet.
Well, it depends. It depends on what type of application you're running. If you're running for example, a Spotify, then it could be both. You can download all your music or ahead of time when you're not going to use the internet, or you can use it streaming.
But I'm saying if you're only using cloud-based gaming from Microsoft, I can already do that on my regular iPad, my iPad Mini, and my phone. Like literally anything that already has an internet connection can stream cloud gaming. That's so true. Like it's why would you want to make a dedicated piece of hardware that only does that one thing? That's like it's like somebody coming out and being like, I made an iPod.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, Brett. That is kind of dumb to do. Is just a isolated standalone kind of player just for that. What I would recommend Microsoft to do is to sort of do like a collaboration with their Surface team and do like Xbox branded Surface tablets.
There you go.
So whenever do that a long time ago when they were,
I thought so too. That's I've been telling Uncle Phil it doesn't listen to me
because when they finally gave it support for the new controller, the Bluetooth, when they did the Bluetooth, they're like, look, you can play this and you can do the cloud game. I was like, oh damn, they're gonna make a dedicated one. No, they never did.
Yeah.
All right. They could have done it.
All right, and the last question here, last extra question: would co-op in Spider-Man 2 be a game changer for the series? I don't know about game changer, but it'd be cool.
Damn it'd be interesting, yeah. Somebody's playing, you're playing, somebody's playing Miles, and somebody's playing, Peter.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely, that could.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. Yeah, somebody's playing Spider-Man, somebody's playing Miles. That'd be cool, All right, moving on here. Tumeke, who's been in the chat all night. Since we have the fanboy groups named Ponies, Xbox, Nintendrones, PCMR, what do we call the Steam Deck fans? Deckhead.
Oh, I know what they call.
So that's what he says. So he goes, deckheads, steamers, which is apparently a derogatory term in down there. It goes the term used for fresh shit. I thought we decided deckheads.
I like deckheads.
Deckheads. I like that. We've decided this as a country.
I mean, it could be seen as derogatory, but also it's like, I don't know. It also kind of isn't.
Or Carlos, Steam Deck boy.
Steam Deck boy.
Nah, man, you can't use that. That's a homeboy. RP.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. All right. Next question. Did Sega and Nintendo fanboys have names back in the day? No, because there was no internet back in the day.
There was no. Yeah.
No, we didn't.
That it didn't exist, because remember, the only reason people have names now is because we have an actual gaming community that's around the world, and everybody can convey ideas, and then certain ideas come to the top, and then they become like zeitgeist. Back in the day, it was just gaming communities were just in your neighborhood. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the people. It was like your people, like the people that you knew, and then your connection to the outside world of gaming was a video game magazine.
That's right. Yeah,
that's right. And they're not going to print. Shit talking.
Yeah, they're not going to print shit talking.
And the only fanboys you encounter were the people in school.
Yeah,
those that did play video games.
Yeah. I got to say, I feel like I remember Whack Jobs just talking shit in the letter forms of. Okay, for those of you that were too young to remember, we used to go and buy these physical paper magazines that inside them they had these things where people would write words on a piece of paper and put it in the mail and mail it to these people. And then these people would print it in the paper book and then sell it on a newsstand. So you would read a letter from some jackass in Massachusetts in your gaming rag. And those were always full of weird assholes constantly throwing dirt at everyone.
No, they curated those things. They didn't just throw anything.
They curated them. They let some of the there'll be like ones that would be like, I don't really like the way this is going, and then they would essentially take the higher road and be like, well, you need to think about this a little bit more. Like they won't openly like bash them into the ground because of something like that. No, but it was always sort of, it was never like heavy duty like
No. It wasn't like going on fucking Reddit or anything like that.
No, it's not going. Yeah, it's not going on Reddit or going onto the comments of a current.
Yeah,
and
then also when back then when you used to talk shit about the other console, what would you do at the end of the day? Go to your friend's house and play on that console. It wasn't
exactly.
Yeah.
You at least knew somebody who had one of the consoles. Like for me, it was like Adam didn't have a Super Nintendo, so I bring mine all the way up from Queens to Brooklyn. Which is kind of crazy, if you think about it. It's like a $200 or $300 console. I put in my bag and take the train all the way down from up in Queens all the way down to Avenue X. So,
Manny, it's funny. I think about that every single time I bring a laptop or laptops from work from home. I'm like, I'm carrying like $5,000 worth of shit right now.
No, I mean, I would stick it I have my little bag I'd take and I put it in between it. So if I did have to open it up, nobody would see my shit. And also I had the luxury of being kind of the tall kid. So, I could get away with maybe looking a bit older than I was.
The worst is somebody that I still deal with today, a friend of mine. And we know him, and I'll talk about it later. But he had,
man, you remember Lil Jon?
He had an Xbox 360. Most of us, but he got that official Xbox 360 bag to carry it around. And yes, and I'm like, why are you doing this? And it looked like an Xbox 360. It had the colors, that eggshell. I'm like, what are you doing?
How long before it got stolen?
It didn't, but he was lucky, and he lived in the PJs. I'm like, you're just asking.
He's asking for it. He's crazy.
Like, well, I like it. I like the bag.
Wow. All right, man. Moving on. Oh, he also asked another question about which failed console you think would have had a longer shelf life, but we've answered that in the past, so
no need to go. Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Man, 3DO for life.
He specifically said no Dreamcast, but we've answered it before.
3DO for life, son. 3DO for life.
3DO, man.
Sega Saturn, man. Let's go.
3DO.
Tower of Power.
Phone jack in your controller.
Vita, baby.
Let's go.
Vita, baby, yo.
Out of all the consoles that failed, I was really surprised about that one because I'm like, Sony's gonna back this to the heavens. No. There's no way they're gonna.
Sony was the one that fucked it up with those fucking memory cards causing so goddamn much. Anyway, let's move on to the final questions of the night. Black Metal Gamer is back, man. It's been a while, man.
Yo, man, where you been at, man?
What's up, homie?
What's going on, brother?
I don't know what happened.
He's back.
Maybe, or maybe he was on a trip. Maybe he's in the military. He was serving.
Maybe he was serving Satan.
I say he was ice road trucking.
Easy G.I. Joe.
Yeah, right. Who gave us the monies?
Mob hits with the bits.
Let's go. All
right.
It
rhymes.
All right, let's go. If Square Enix sold their individual IPs piecemeal to the big three, which games would fit best for each console? For example, Microsoft gets Front Mission, Nintendo gets Chrono Trigger, etc.
Ooh,
Square Enix?
Square Enix.
Because there's rumors of Square Enix essentially looking to sell off their IPs to essentially become more profitable. I mean, to be honest,
they're not going to sell Final Fantasy. I'll tell you that. That's the one they won't.
They're not going to sell Final Fantasy, but if Sony could actually pull that one off, I feel like that would be a good fit for them.
Yeah,
but
Sony could buy the bouncer.
They could come on, man, buy that bouncer. No, they'll probably get that one for a song. They'll be like, oh, you got $2? All right, you got the bouncer franchise.
Somebody bought somebody at Sony a ham sandwich, and they're like, it's yours.
It's yours.
Dragon Quest would actually fit well with Nintendo, to be honest.
Dragon Quest,
just because of the history.
If they picked it up, that would be good. I would say the Octopath games would go on there pretty good because that kind of started there.
On Nintendo, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so they sort of, oh man, here's the thing: like Square has a huge franchise, huge list of franchises that they could sell off. I mean,
they sold off a couple earlier this year.
Well, I mean, they literally just sold off Eidos with all their franchises.
They sold off the Big Western. What does Enix make besides fucking Dragon Quest?
Oh man, the thing about it is a lot of the Enix games were mostly Japan only.
Yeah, but because when they merged, obviously both were. I mean, Square Enix was making games. I mean, Enix was making games for America.
No, Enix was making. Enix was making lots of games. Like their ActRaiser is them.
Okay, I didn't know. That's cool.
As I remember, ActRaiser is them. Is that them?
Yeah, we could look it up, but ActRaiser is cool. ActRaiser, maybe on Sony as a third-person adventure game. You know,
Soul Blazer is Enix.
I'm not familiar with that one.
That's an OG. That's like
yeah. So ActRaiser it is Enix.
Yeah, it's ActRaiser, and they did release make a new ActRaiser game, but it was not good.
Yeah,
from what I heard.
Yeah.
ActRaiser 2, Dragon Quest. There's a game called. Oh, what?
I have a question for you. Why is it? Didn't they work on Near Replicant?
No. Oh, what you mean, Enix?
Well, that was Square Enix.
That's Square Enix.
Did they own that? Because I know Platinum did the first one, or at least the Automata.
So Nier is a purely Square Soft or Square Enix franchise.
Yeah, Square Enix.
But the thing about it is that the original Nier or any Drakengard or any of those games like Yoko Taro were essentially middleware games. They were not big budget super games.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shows with the quality of the actual gameplay of those games. You know, they're very sort of janky, but what they all sort of make up is in their kind of their plots, and that's why they've become so, intriguing to people, because he's essentially trying to fill in the weakness of the actual game with the plot, with a good interesting, intriguing plot.
Interesting.
Why does Tomb Raider?
Wasn't that the pass that a lot of Bethesda games would get? They're like, oh damn, they got all these bugs and issues, but damn, the story's great, man. I want to keep playing. I want to hear this.
Well, I mean, I feel like the Bethesda, like when it comes to open world games in general, when the amount of stuff you can do sort of subverts all the glitchiness that the games have. But then again, look at Cyberpunk. But then again, you can't do that much in Cyberpunk, right?
No, there's a lot you could do. There's a lot you could do. It's just the game.
But you can't do Bethesda level type of shit.
Most games can't do Bethesda level shit,
Yeah.
Even
Bethesda can't do Bethesda level shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Bust the Move is also Enix, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's what logically dashing. Yeah. David Diltonen, by the way, he's been joining us in the chat.
There's I think Valkyrie Profile.
Yeah, Evo game on SNES. Yeah, they did that. Yeah, Square Enix has definitely not been that. Their games are not as big as like Square Enix games though, or Square games, SquareSoft.
Grandia 2, you love that game, man.
Grandia 2 was good. That's Enix. Oh shit, I didn't realize that. Yeah, Grandia 2 is good stuff, man. I didn't realize.
So they have had. Oh, it's Star.
No, it's not. Hold on. It says Game Arts here. Hold on. Grandia.
No, well,
2.
that's the developer.
That's the publisher. Yeah, you're right. Enix. Worldwide was Ubisoft though. Interesting.
Yeah, well, the thing about what happened is that Enix was not. Didn't have as much of a, at least after the Super Nintendo era, it didn't have that much of a presence in the States. So a lot of their games were released by other companies.
Yeah, makes sense. Wonder Project J is a Japanese exclusive on Super Famicom that was like a Pinocchio ripoff. I have it on my SNES Classic. It's pretty awesome. All right. Moving on. Last question of the night. Games don't have the best soundtracks anymore. But can you list some newer games or indies that have some great songs? Persona 5, that fucking amazing.
Persona, I would have to say, like the new Spider-Man game has some really cool music.
That one had some good. The Miles one had some really good ones.
The Miles one, like the music that they have specifically for him sounds cool. Just like because they sort of went back to theme-based music where it's like that little
tune scores. That he's got.
Yeah, the little theme-based music. What else? Shit.
I'll keep going. I like the music of the recent Yakuza games. Those have really been good. Sonic Mania obviously had like old stuff.
Sonic Mania had nice music.
Manny, your
Turtles
favorite
game.
Yeah, Turtles one was good.
Turtles was awesome.
Manny, Nier Automata, fantastic.
I would say Nier Automata or anything done by that one composer. He's got really good stuff. So now we're talking about recent. We're not talking about like
no, we're talking about new games.
Recently,
within the last 5 years, you know.
Oh, okay.
Nobody can bring up Elden
Ring?
Ring?
The last 5 years?
Which one, Brett?
Elden Ring?
Yeah, they had good music.
When it does play.
Right? When it does play, yeah. When it does,
yeah. Well, the boss fights.
Yeah.
But it gives you the right amount. Like I always felt like it sort of gives you the right amount of like thing. Like you get music when you're like at the epic moment. You know, like for the most part, you're just like listening to the environments and stuff. But yeah, I think it's good. Let's see, last 5 years.
Yeah, again, you know, and this it's funny because I remember writing a blog about this on Cool Stuff fucking 12 years ago. I'm like, what happened to good game music? It's still kind of the same. Like you said, Spider-Man. I can't name a single thing off of that. Like. It's the
main theme that he's got, and the really cool the way his swinging music works.
You mean whenever it pops up?
Yeah, like it slows down and you know gets more, you know, epic as the more speed he gets.
Yeah, no, the way the music worked in that was cool, but I can't. The songs were not memorable to me. I remember, man, you were telling me like, hey, the music in like the whatever Nolan Batman movies out sounds like the Arkham games. I'm like, I can't, I don't know the music of any of these things because it's just the background music, you know.
The Batman theme is usually on the main menu. It's sort of like I forgot the theme of it, but you can.
But I remember, man, you literally you sent me 2 YouTube videos of the songs. I'm like, I don't know. Like that's how unmemorable they were. And I'm not saying they're bad. It's just they're specifically made to be background music to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they're not in your face. And that's the problem with a lot of newer games. Since they're more cinema scores are not meant to grab your attention. They're meant to emphasize the scene, to bring you in. A good score doesn't call attention to itself. A movie score. I
mean. I would throw Gravity Rush in there, Gravity Rush 2 at least, because it's on the precipice of being in the last 5 years.
Why not, right?
That one always had a nice jazz sort of bit ragtime sort of amalgam music, very uplifting sort of music, especially because if you think about the character who floats around and flies.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Persona 5 is probably the best for me. So much that I bought the physical soundtrack. Like, that's how real it got. I'm like, this music is fucking amazing, because, again, most game music doesn't grab me anymore. When game music is good, it's like, whoa, shit, this is dope.
I think the Turtles game, the new Turtles game.
Turtles game is good.
I think the one song, though, out of all modern games that really stuck with me, and even on my Spotify, I have this one track, and it's the Fallout 76 theme. The opening track, that song, man. They even used it for the PS4 desktop thing when they used to do the dynamics, and that was the music. That was the song. It's an awesome track. It's just called Fallout 76 theme.
Yeah, David, thank you, Manny. We forgot one big one. Guilty Gear.
Oh yeah, Guilty Gear, the metal.
The metal.
The metal.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys? Any memorable songs or soundtracks from the last 5 years? Go ahead, Brian.
Oh yeah, I got one where like instantly just bring a smile and terror to your faces. Monster Hunter World and specifically Nergigante's theme.
It's funny, Brian, because you talked about this like a while ago. Like I was like, I didn't realize every monster had their own themes. I can't name it. I can't name any. I couldn't name any theme from that game. I don't know them. They just blend into the background for me. So like Nergigante, I don't know what his song sounds like. I don't like you play any other songs. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Okay. It's on Spotify, so you can actually go and have a listen to it, and you'll be able. You might be able to actually identify which monster it is just based on the theme, because each one is so different, and it suits the theme of the monster as well, which I think is really clever.
Interesting. I just never stood out to me. I guess the music in that game. All right, what, Chris? Do you have any entries last 5 years or so?
It's tough outside of like Elden Ring and the Demon Souls remake. I can't like Resident Evil doesn't really. I don't really think about the music. If
Yeah,
there was
no,
even any in there, I couldn't
yeah,
tell you.
background
You
music,
know.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a tough one. I can't think of any examples.
yeah. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no.
Oh well, you know what? I will name one. Ratchet and Clank. The Rift Apart one that had good music.
No,
I did enjoy it, but it wasn't like amazing. But I thought like it's something I think of like that had really good music in it.
I gotta give a shout out, and hopefully none of the panelists cringe when I say this, just by mentioning the name. But I gotta give credit to the music in that game because it's pretty memorable for me, and that's The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. I feel like it's got pretty good soundtrack.
That's another one of those soundtracks. In one ear, out the other. I don't know it.
A lot of that guitar music. That
it's the guitar, yeah.
That didn't really. It didn't strike a chord with me.
Oh,
yeah, it's because the music wasn't like "This is the Last of Us."
Yeah, right. Yeah, again, it's just how a lot of modern game music is just background music because it's trying to be cinematic. All right, man.
Even cinematic music can be thematic.
Yeah, but
just tell that to Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, I mean, like it used to be.
Oh man, that Modern Warfare stuff that he did is freaking awesome.
Hans Zimmer's like, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, it had some good music when you go into the world. It's all environmental type music though.
I feel like Hans Zimmer, like whenever Christopher Nolan's trying to do a scene, is like, Hans Zimmer's thinking, how can I steal this scene?
Super Mario.
And it's usually a
wow. Yeah. Mario Odyssey. There was the one like Japan level or something like that. That was really cool. That sounded really nice.
Yeah, they also had Mario Odyssey has a lot of really nice music.
Yeah, that game has a good soundtrack. Hades.
Yeah, when you hit the city.
Yeah. Mario's good. Mario's Odyssey's good stuff.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah, what's up?
Doom
Eternal. You already know.
Yeah, Mick Gordon stuff. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was.
Well,
good.
they didn't do that.
They didn't do that. They did a version of that. They
did a version, but he did a great job with Killer Instinct. Also, that's where he came from, Mick Gordon.
Oh, nice.
He did that. Yeah, the KS soundtrack is phenomenal. And then he went and did Doom. And Doom Eternal.
Good stuff. All right, man. I believe we are done here. Does anybody have anything to plug?
Nope, not right now. Just waiting for things to show up. So stay tuned.
All right, Adam.
We got our discussion and review of episode 1 for Tales of the Walking Dead. That's on the I Am Negan podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and the Coalition YouTube. It's myself, Richard Bailey Jr., and Carlos. And it wasn't good. So we talk about that. And the next episode will drop this week. But yeah, that's there. That's the one with Terry Crews and Olivia Munn for that first episode.
Oh, God.
So people wondering when he pops up. Oh, it's in the first episode. So,
hey, Terry Crews.
If you want to check that out, I Am Negan.
I will say this as a teaser because we still have yet to record episode 2 of Tales of the Walking Dead, but we already saw the episode. At least I saw the episode. I think Rich and Adam are going to watch it tonight or tomorrow. But you guys are going to want to listen to this episode.
Oh, interesting,
man.
The tease. All right, man. So anyway, we are done here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Make sure you hit up the Discord where the conversations as of lately have been especially popping. And Mob Hits will drop his rumors as usual. Throwdown Show is on every podcast app. Throwdown Show towards Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com is where you can listen to our past episodes. And if you have been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links are located down below. Once again, our show host Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Majoma.
Prey is exactly what's wrong with every single Hollywood movie these days.
Man, okay, a quick thing. I'm glad you said that about Prey. Okay, so I was very bothered by the fact that the Predator had the CG face, right? I just saw what the animatronic looked like, without all that shit. It looks fucking awesome. Why didn't you use that? You fucking assholes. Oh, my God. Anyway, we'll talk to you all on Thursday. Later.
Latest.
Later, guys.
Peace.